Hi, Nesh Nikolic here from Act Skills. I've just completed a workshop here in Sydney and I thought I'd take this opportunity to have a look at the hexaflex, a bit of a snapshot if you will. Starting at the top, we've got the present moments, values, action, self as context, diffusion, and then acceptance. In the middle, what you'll find there is psychological flexibility. So these are the 6 points that we can go out and work on, or the different core processes that ACT offers when working with people, clients, human beings and their difficulties. So the present moment, a bit of a snapshot of the present moment, is looking at assisting our clients in getting in touch with the here and the now. We can do that in a couple of different types of tools, strategies and the like, and just rattling off a few, we've got some formal mindfulness practice, maybe something like meditation. We've got informal or flexible ways of going and doing mindfulness. Maybe it's in the way that we deliberately do something, for example, maybe deliberately taking a sip of water. We can do some grounding work, being in contact with the here and the now in terms of what you can see, smell, taste, touch and hear. And we can also do some appreciation exercises and the like. There's also some work that we can look at where we go out and focus our attention. You see, mindfulness is about how we focus our attention and holding that attention on something, and obviously from a clinically relevant space. We have values. Values is about clarifying values, understanding our values, not only those things that are important to us in terms of the domains like family or friends or health, but also about how you want to be as a person, how you want to be remembered, how you want to be as a human being. So different qualities about who you are, being patient, being kind, being thoughtful and the like, different qualities and so on. Action is about committed action in actual fact, committing to doing something in the service of your values. So committed action kind of says, can we go out and maybe set a goal, if you will, or decide on a direction in mind and move towards it, take a step towards it and commit to it. So I'm going to commit to having an apple this afternoon in the service of energy and vibrancy, because those things that are important to me is about being present and available for my family. Different ways of looking at things. So that's committed action. We have self as context. Now, self as context can be kind of described about as getting fused with a conceptualized self. What that means is that sometimes we get caught up in a story about who we are, rather than recognizing that that's a story about who we are. Sometimes we take on the label or the persona or the story about who we are. So it's kind of like saying there might be a book on Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela is not the book. The book is about him. So there's a very different space. So we're kind of saying, how do we go out and see ourselves? Are we able to diffuse from this self-story? We also have diffusion. Diffusion is the process of being able to observe thoughts, being able to recognize thoughts rather than getting caught up in thoughts. So what often happens is when thoughts come up, we might go out and try and get rid of thoughts, try and push thoughts away, or try and run away from thoughts. What psychology has been able to demonstrate and show is that thoughts can't be avoided. We can't just get rid of them. And sometimes if we argue with them, they give us more grief. We tend to fuse with them. We tend to trip over them. We take them on in the literal sense. So diffusion is being able to notice the thoughts. Maybe we can label the thoughts and then allow the thought to be there without judgment, so we don't get caught up in it. That's diffusion. And then we have acceptance. And acceptance is about making room for or allowing or permitting or making some space for those things that are uncomfortable. What ACT recognises is that being human means that there are lots of tough times or difficulties that we go out and face in life. And so we look at making room for or accepting, if you will, some of those difficulties. And so in there lies less of a struggle that we don't have to try and get rid of the unavoidable. And that's why acceptance is there. If we can get rid of those things that are uncomfortable, Often it's useful to do so, but sometimes we're unable to do just that, so we can use some acceptance work. Obviously, you can see psychological flexibility is in the heart of all of this, and that's really about going out and using each of these in a flexible way. We don't necessarily want to rigidly try and do any of these, but rather do it in a flexible way. So for example, if I was trying to be present and in the moment all the time in a rigid way, it's going to be very difficult for me to go out and do many of my other roles in my life. I'll get fused with trying to be present and trying to be here and now all the time. So it's about psychological flexibility rather than rigidity. So a little bit of a snapshot. What I will encourage you to do is to maybe draw this up a few times so that you can see the model in your head and be able to use it in your practice. I've drawn this up hundreds of times, and so each time I put it up, it just helps to ingrain it, to reinforce it, and to allow me to appreciate and understand the different places through which I can go out and work with my clients. So I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of a snapshot, and I'll see you next time.